Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the school board meeting of the Palm Beach County School Board to order on October 16th. Mrs. Bass, please take the roll.
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw. Here. District 3, Karen Brill. Here. District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
All right, we have quorum with all 7 board members present. Let the record reflect that we also have it today as Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy, General Counsel Julie Enrico, Inspector General Lung Chu, and Palm Beach County Student Council President Jaden Manuel. I'd like to remind all who will be speaking today that this meeting is being transcribed in real time so it can be viewed with closed captioning. Please speak at a reasonable pace so the transcribers can fully capture what you are saying. This evening, the proclamations on the agenda include acknowledging October as LGBT History Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 24th as Lights on After School Day, October 13th through 19th as Mediation Week, October 17th as Conflict Resolution Day, and November 11th through the 15th as School Psychology Awareness Week. At this time, I'd like everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Here to present the flag is the William T. Dwyer High School Army JROTC under the direction of Colonel Edward Richards. And singing the national anthem is an extremely talented choir from a wonderful high school that just happens to be in my district, West Boca Raton Community High School, who perform under the name Bella Voce under the direction of Catherine Briggs.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare amongst bursting air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
one of us does that, or we put some, make sure we got orders right in the last couple of times, at least kind of.
Yeah, we prepared that before. Carol made sure that.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I said I do that.
Thank you to West Boca and Dwyer High Schools for coming here to this evening. Board members, we have several minutes, sets of minutes on the board agenda that need review and approval. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mrs. McQuinn, seconded by Dr. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have 4 items added for good cause. Those items are first ELR 5 January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2021 successor collective bargaining agreement with SEIU/FPSU, regular supervisory and paraprofessional 2, and ECPS retroactive to January 1st, 2019. Good cause exists for adding this item to allow for timely processing of raises for affected employees. The next item that's been added is P2, job descriptions. Good cause exists to add this item to allow for the advertising and filling of these new positions in a timely manner. Item P3, personnel addendum. Good cause exists to add this item so employees can start in their new positions as soon as possible. And item SP4, 2019-2020 district best practices assessment. Good cause exists to add this item so the school safety specialists may timely report the findings and board action to the Florida Department of Education Office of Safe Schools pursuant to Florida Statute 1006.07 sub 6. Mr. Superintendent, do you have items to withdraw?
Yes, sir. I'd like to withdraw COM 8. I'd like to withdraw COM 13. I'd also like to withdraw ELR 1. I'd like to withdraw ELR 3. I'd also like to withdraw FC 1. I'd also like to withdraw PIR 2 and SP 3. Those are the ones I'm withdrawing, sir.
All right, thank you. Items that have been pulled so far, FMPF 1. Do board members have anything else they want to pull at this time? All right, we need a motion to approve the agenda as modified. Motion made by Mrs. Andrews, second by Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor, all opposed, motion carries 7-0. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, one of the items that we withdrew was SP3, which was requested the sheriff to establish the Coach Aaron Feist Guardian Program. That was withdrawn because we have received assurances from the sheriff in writing that the Coach Aaron Feist Guardian Program and Safe School Security Guard training programs will be available to charter schools. We are in discussion with the sheriff and his team in order to collaborate on the details of the mutual obligations under the statute. Once we have completed our discussions, we will bring a status report or other appropriate items to the board for consideration as needed.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures or abstentions from the board members? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent, your comments?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, the School District of Palm Beach County is honored to be recognized for its commitment to conducting business with diverse and minority-owned companies and programs. The Florida State Minority Supplier Development Council recently named the district the Local Corporation of the Year for excellence in supplier diversity. Congratulations to the school district as well as the team members from facilities and the Office of Diversity and Business Practices. We will formally recognize this accomplishment during our board recognitions. But before that, another honor to mention for the Office of Diversity and Business Practices. Palm Beach County Commissioners proclaimed October 10th as School District of Palm Beach County Office of Diversity and Business Practices Day. This honor recognizes the tremendous effort put forth by Dickie Sykes and her team to increase participation of small and minority business and the procurement opportunities available through the school district and other local government agencies. We will all take a photo together in a few minutes. I also want to recognize the Department of Safe Schools, which has been awarded 2 grants valued at about $3 million. The Stop the School Violence Grant for 2019 consists of a partnership with Sandy Hook Promise to work within our secondary schools. The school district has also been awarded a School Climate Transformation Grant from the U.S. Department of Education. This grant will help to develop, enhance, or expand support systems and expand technical assistance to schools implementing multi-tiered systems of improving school climate. Congratulations to June Issa, the district's Assistant Superintendent for Student Wellness, and her team for being awarded these 2 outstanding grants. Up next, a shout out to our bus drivers. It is my pleasure to inform you that the school district's transportation department has been selected for the 2019 Best of the West Palm Beach Awards in the category of school bus service. And finally, I want to invite you to share your thoughts and opinions as the state of Florida rewrites student standards. Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran stopped in Palm Beach County this week as part of a public listening tour. You can still weigh in even if you missed the meeting on Monday. Please visit fldoe.org/standards-review. At this time, I would like our Deputy Superintendent, Keith Oswald, to come to the podium as he introduces our new district's new Assistant Superintendent for Choice and Innovation.
Thank you, Dr. Finoni. Good afternoon, board members. Pleasure to be able to speak to you today about a very important... Mr. Superintendent, your microphone is not on.
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm. Very good. That's silence.
Maybe we really don't want to recognize him tonight.
Welcome to the district.
Test.
There you go.
All right. Again, thank you, Dr. Fenoy. Good afternoon, board members. It's a pleasure and honor to introduce an important vacancy. Our district is recognized for our world-class choice programs, and since Dr. Licata has been leading the regional office, we have had that vacancy, and I know on behalf of Dr. Sheffield and myself, we're pleased to announce, our Chief Economic Officer, to announce that Mr. Jay Bogus Jay Bogus to be leading the Assistant Superintendent of Choice and Innovation. Jay.
Thank you, sir. Hello, 1980s microphone. Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, Superintendent Fenoy, and stakeholders of Palm Beach County. I come to you today honored and humbled to accept the position of Assistant Superintendent of Choice and Innovation. As many of you have seen, I've grown up in Palm Beach County professionally as a classroom teacher, assistant principal, district administrator. But the goal has not changed. It is to empower people to better their lives. And in doing so, Palm Beach County is my home. It's where I've grown. It's where I have a family. It's where I have a home. And in looking at it, and I look at this and say, in less than 30 days, I have a fifth child coming. And in doing so, a baby boy named Brave. And I want for him exactly what I want for 197,000 other students. And I say that to you to give you a little bit of my why I do what I do, where it's energy, resource, effort, attention to what's in the best interest of reshaping what public education looks like, not only for Palm Beach County, not for a state, but for a nation. That it's a place that you can come and look and strive for absolute excellence in everything that we do. When I say reshaping, I don't mean that it's broken. I mean that we're going to strategize and be strategic on what those priorities look like, both from a school district perspective, but also when it comes to choice and innovation and the expansion of what's in the best interests of kids when it comes to college and career ready. That's what we're talking about. When we look at aligning life's passions to what the constructs of those passions look like and ultimately to fulfill a vision in their life. This is an A-rated school system, and that doesn't happen without a heck of a lot of hard work from a school board, from a superintendent, from district administrators, principals, directors, and classroom teachers. We will continue to strive towards third grade proficiency in reading. As our superintendent has led, he says that this is our North Star, that we're going to align everything that we do as far as strategy and resource to literacy. As we engage in high school readiness, that we continue to expand career exploration and ultimately expand choice offerings that provide purpose, rigor, and relevance to our classrooms. That our high school graduation rate continues to climb, as we've seen over the course of the last 4 years, from 85 to 92% and beyond. But there's still work to be done as we create the college and career-ready mindset for Palm Beach County students and empower them to do so. Lastly, as one of my mentors, Dr. Pete Licata has been in this role for many years. I've watched him fervently pursue postgraduate success for our students. And what that means is that's the belief and exploration of business and industry relationships. It's private and public partnerships, and ultimately fostering that back into our classrooms to show the relevance and the applicability to what it means to be not only here in Palm Beach County, but the vibrancy that it brings to us. Lastly, redefining and reshaping public ed. It's that success looks like college, university, trade school, the military, apprenticeships. Success is defined by the person who's living it and ultimately empowering them to expand what they think is possible. Tonight, I express my appreciation and gratitude to this board, to the staff, and ultimately to Palm Beach County, a place that I love and care for and that has been very good to me. I look forward to Palm Beach County continuing their greatness, and now that I'm part of it, and this mission-centric organization that I call home, that empowers people for their betterment, and the growth of what this nation is to become. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boggess, you understand as a member of the team now that your productivity is impacting the overcrowding in our schools, so you should do something about that.
I understand.
Board members, you have comments, starting with Ms. McQuinn.
I do. Still finalizing because I changed my remarks that I was going to make based on a public radio interview I heard on my way into the district office today. The interview was with Mr. John Leguizamo, who was born in Colombia, and he has just directed, actually the movie's not out yet, it's an upcoming movie, Critical Thinking, and I'm going to refer to my notes here. The movie is set in 1998, and it tells the story of a Cuban-American teacher, Mario Martinez. And Mr. Martinez was a teacher at Miami, I can do this, Miami, yeah, what, Miami what? No, well, it is, but it is a specific school in my high school in Miami. But this was predominantly his class, which was called Critical Thinking, was a chess club. And it was comprised primarily of low-income minority students who came on, this was in 1998, who became national chess champions through his apparently quite directive work with them in his class. So this is a movie that was long in the making, again called Critical Thinking. So I'm excited to see that. But also in the interview, Mr. Leguizamo, I had to practice that name, talked about the contributions. He and his family came over here from Bogota, and he did not have a lot of advantages growing up, but his parents were very demanding that, number one, they retain their culture, and he said that he only got Christmas presents when he read books in Spanish, so that was quite an incentive. But he also talked about the many significant contributions that the Latino and Hispanic societies have made, and he pointed out that before the very beginning of our country, they fought in the wars that made us the country we are. And he talked about the states who are named, that have Hispanic names. So one, of course, being Florida, and then cities such as Boca Raton. So it was just very interesting to hear that interview, and I am very happy to be part of an educational system that is celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McQuinn. Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you. I want to take my few minutes here to recognize an organization in the community who I just think is doing really special work. And I think it kind of speaks to, hopefully you'll all think this as well, what one person can do. We have an amazing resident in Delray named Ted Hoskins, and he started an organization called Roots and Wings just a couple years ago in Delray Beach. This organization was just something that he decided to create after the passing of his wife, where he wanted to do something special to recognize her. So this organization, what they do is they go around to the schools in Delray originally, and they work to recognize great teachers at the schools. This is something that we try our best as a board to do, but to have somebody in the community actually go to the schools and recognize a teacher when they're doing great, to me, just means so much. They do 9 schools in Delray. This year they picked up 9 more schools. They're doing Boynton Beach and Boca Raton. And in those schools, the teachers themselves actually nominate who's going to get the awards. So the principal reviews the teacher nominations, and so it's done by their colleagues, so someone can say that they know someone's just gone above and beyond. And the awards come with $1,000 in gifts and prizes and some money associated with it that the teachers get. So a really great recognition for our teachers for when they're doing a wonderful job, and just something that one man decided to do and has really brought on an entire group of of wonderful contributions from the Delray, Boynton Beach, and Boca community. So I just wanted to take a minute to recognize him and the work that he's done and what he's doing, and just have to tell you that I got to attend an award. I know Mr. Barbieri attended one recently. The teachers are so appreciative, because it's very, very rare that they get a sincere thank you like that from the community. So I wanted to just tip my hat off to him and say thank you so much to Ted for his hard work and for making our teachers feel so special. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mrs. Brill?
Thank you. So tonight I have a couple comments for the public and then something for my colleagues. On Monday, I attended the Florida Standards Listening Tour. Education Commissioner Richard Corcoran's comments and those of Chancellor Oliva were encouraging in their acknowledgement that they are hearing similar concerns from around the state. Specifically, the big theme was the desire for developmental appropriateness and clear, concise standards. I was very happy to hear the comments made about what is being expected of kindergarten students and how inappropriate some of those expectations are. They also seem to understand the concerns of our advocates, the moms of students with dyslexia, as they asked for the ability for teachers to utilize a multisensory approach. I'm hopeful, but I cannot help thinking that the more things change, the more they stay the same. I've been through several iterations of Florida standards and state exams, but never have the stakes been so high and those impacted so young. Still, I'm optimistic that the Department of Education will work to get this right. On Thursday, that's tomorrow, the National Council for Jewish Women is opening another kids' community closet. This one is at Diamond View Elementary School. I've spoken about this wonderful endeavor previously, but for those who aren't familiar with it, the NCJW Palm Beach section is currently serving over 10,000 of our students with closets that they have opened in 13 public elementary schools, where at least 90% of the students qualify for free or reduced lunch. The closets are stocked with pants, shorts, collared jerseys, underwear, and socks. In some cases, in some schools, they even provide school supplies and personal care items. It takes a village, and I hope we will bring this group into a future board meeting and thank them directly. And finally, to my colleagues, as you know, I was not physically present at the last meeting when the legislative platform was voted upon. I had phoned in, but I had to leave the meeting since I was at Leadership Florida with their education group. And so I've asked the superintendent to bring back the two-page platform with the addition of an item we discussed and agreed to at the workshop. Specifically under student learning and academics, I believe we should have included the flexibility of instructional hours per semester. We will be able to discuss this further if necessary on October 30th when the superintendent brings it back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Mrs. Andrews?
And good afternoon, everyone. My first announcement is hot off the press. Congratulations to Dr. Jesus Armas, principal of Royal Palm Beach High School, for being selected Principal of the Year for the Central Region. I am just so thrilled because it's my school in District 6, but I just know the school so well. Having enjoyed all of my visits to the school and to see his leadership, it's truly outstanding. So I'm so excited. You'll hear more about it, but hooray for Dr. Jesus Armas, Principal of the Year for the Central Region. And another great thing happened just a few days ago. Gove Elementary School held an ESC Parent University Day on last Saturday. What a great opportunity it was for the families of the Glades region. The parents, the community service support organizations, as well as information workshop sessions sponsored by the School District of Palm Beach County ESC Department, benefited everybody in attendance. We learned so much on that particular day. A special thanks for our principal, Ms. Kimberly Thomason, for making it happen at Gove. And you'll be hearing me talk a little bit more about getting information to this board on ESC Parent University programs and other ESC ventures that are taking place right around us each and every day. Glade Central High School Criminal Justice Academy held their annual swearing-in ceremony of new officers. And as you know, right here in Palm Beach County, we've been swearing in some officers here. But as I was at Glade Central the other day, being the guest speaker, it was my pleasure to see the pinning of the captains, the lieutenants, the sergeants from Glade Central Criminal Justice Academy. And I was looking out in the audience at all the children that are in the academy. I saw the future police officers and those who would be in some form of law enforcement for the future. It truly was very exciting. A marvelous program we have in Palm Beach County, the Criminal Justice Academies. And it was also my pleasure to be with the superintendent, the school board, district staff, and the community on last Friday as we celebrated with the Hispanic Education Coalition for their annual luncheon held at the West Palm Beach Hilton. What a great time that we shared looking and talking about our history, our Hispanic history, congratulating our board chair, Mr. Frank Barbieri, who received a leadership award, looking at all of the scholarships that were given to the students and celebrating the accomplishments of our Hispanic leaders and members of our community. It's an annual event, but this year I think it topped it with all of the wonderful presentations and certainly the money that was raised for the students. And lastly, this month, October, is LGBT month. As you know, on the agenda tonight, we have a proclamation. I'm hoping at the time of our approval of the proclamation, we will take a moment to read it because we really do believe in all of our LGBT family right here in Palm Beach County and all across the world. And we're celebrating this October, LGBT month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Dr. Robinson?
Thank you. Good evening. One of the most published authors of scholarly writings on African American English is Dr. Geneva Smitherman. She is a graduate of Cass Tech, Dr. Fenoy, in Detroit and University of Michigan. She's Professor Emerita of English and the former director of the African American Language and Literacy Program at Michigan State University. She devoted her career to understanding the intersection of language, culture, and race. Two of her earlier books I have, Talking and Testifying, as well as Black Talk. Her most recent work, which she co-authored with Stanford's H. Sami Alim, is, quote, Articulate While Black, Barack Obama, Language and Race in the United States. Now, much of the following information that I'm providing is taken from a 17-page review of Dr. Smitherman's contributions published in the JSTOR.org. Linguists acknowledge Dr. Smitherman for her immense and profound contributions to the study of African American English and language diversity in education starting in the 1970s. She has been a major contributor to the development of composition studies. Her works were written and presented to scholars as well as common folk. Linguists are clear that African American English, which I lovingly refer to as Ebonics, is a language. It has its own grammar, phonology, semantics, discourse structure, and distinctive vocabulary or lexicon, as well as a distinguished history. Dr. Smitherman, in Talking and Testifying, outlines many of the rules of this language. For example, the final consonant deletion, where it's pronounced test instead of test, the initial TH sound becoming a D, dis instead of this, deletion of the linking verb, he big instead of he is big. She also demonstrates, as other linguists have, that when people, quote, depart from standard English, it is not necessarily an error and can be much more rhetorically useful than standard English usage depending on content and context, close quote. Dr. Smitherman states that standard usage should be taught and, in fact, will be learned over time, but should not be overemphasized, especially in the early years. Instead, with Black students and all students, she states it is important to ensure that writing instruction focus on organization, content, logic, coherence, and supporting details. She outlines this in her 1994 essay entitled The Blacker the Berry, the Sweeter the Juice, African American Students and the National Assessment of Educational Progress. In that document, she encourages teachers to embrace the African American verbal tradition. She states that it will help students produce outstanding essays that are lively, image-filled, concrete, and readable. She stresses that only after multiple revisions of their essays to ensure that it's as powerful a message as possible should conversion to standard English be mandatory. This is the equivalent of encouraging first-generation students to think and write in their primary language, then converting it to English for the assignment. Dr. Smitherman's scholarly pursuits led to a proposal by more modern-day linguists that monolingualism be replaced with translingualism, which recognizes differences not as deviations from the norm of sameness, but itself the norm of language use. Translingualism encourages respect for perceived differences across and within languages. Dr. Smitherman and her scholarly offspring have been clear that we must work to, quote, counter the continuing denigration of subordinated groups by attacks on their language. If we embrace language as language, not superior or inferior, only then will we explicitly and respectfully teach all children to embrace their home language as well as to be proficient in book language. I hope that we will include the works of Dr. Geneva Smitherman in our professional development in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Mr. Shaw?
Thank you very much. Mine is very brief tonight because I want to recognize one of our schools. Last week I had the opportunity to go to Seminole Trails Elementary, where they were having a very special dedication and ribbon cutting in their media center. But this wasn't a typical remodeling of a media center. This was an activity that was done because two of our students, who are both students at Suncoast High School, Alex and Aiden Skolnick, are the co-presidents of a group called the Sock Drawer. And their project is to collect socks and give free socks to kids in need all over the country. But one of their projects they did was also raising money that they raised $50,000 to remodel the library at Seminole Trails Elementary. And it was amazing to see those young people there. And Mrs. Gerard and the staff at that school did an amazing job. The other thing is, it was really nice that we had one of our state legislators there, Representative Rick Roth was there, and spent some time with the principal and the staff. And I think it was significant simply because most of the time, legislators sometimes go to events and then disappear as soon as it's over with. But Representative Roth stayed and worked with the staff and the principal and had a meeting. But congratulations to Alex and Aiden for doing an amazing job. And it's one of those things that gives us that faith in what our students are doing and giving back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Board members, the chairman's report is attached to the agenda tonight, and all of you have a copy of it with the listing of the couple dozen meetings I've had since the last board meeting. I want to point out that I have a meeting scheduled on October 29th with Representative Roth, who's the chairman of the Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation, to review with him the board's legislative priorities and provide him with backup as to what we're going to be speaking about at the joint meeting. I've also asked the administration, and I understand the backup package for that meeting will be sent to all of the Palm Beach County legislators, so they have that about a week before we meet with them, so they have an opportunity to review the items we're going to be discussing and have a better understanding of why we're doing what we're doing or what we're asking for. I also yesterday met with Judge Kroll from the Circuit Court Juvenile Division and Dr. Best to discuss the upcoming workshop we'll be having with Judge Kroll on issues and how we improve the working relationship between the school district and the court to benefit those of our students that find their way into the criminal justice system. And with that said, I want to recognize two employees, as we typically do, passed away. Have a moment of silence for Ronald Gambolotti. He was a teacher, day-to-day substitute in the district substitute pool. He was born in 1941, and he died recently in 2019. and Marguerite McKnight, Behavioral Physical Needs Assistant 2. She was born in 1947. She was at Watson B. Duncan Middle School, and she passed away in 2019. So if we have a moment of silence for these employees. Thank you very much. That'll take us to presentations. Mrs. Naked.